You know, let's talk about the Navy. I'm not going to lie to you. I only did 6 years when I was in there. I was in there from 76 to 82. I just got back from a wonderful time in the Canary Islands, Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, I think is how they said it. Had a beautiful girlfriend. Life was great. The future was wide open. As they say, you could reach for the stars if you wanted to. That was back in 75. I come back, tried to finish my senior year of high school, and they wouldn't let me because I'd missed too much time being overseas in Africa and the Canary Islands and Aberdeen, Scotland. So I took a GED and I went to work in the real world, which back then was the oil field. Worked for a while for a cousin of mine in Ozona, Texas, for dual drilling. And I'm a 17-year-old kid, and I'm saying, God damn, is this all there is to life? Now, granted, I had good money back in them days, but it seemed like there was more. Wanted more. And I heard a story about, I think it was Bakersfield, California. They had a boom going on out there. Well, hell, I'd never been to an oil field boom town. I wanted to check it out. So I loaded everything in the back of my 72 Nova, slung it down in the first gear, and hauled ass. I was going to go to Bakersfield, California, don't you know? Well, I stopped in Vegas on the way because I'd never been to Vegas. Golly, that town, it took my money faster than, well, I ain't going to say faster than whatever, but it pretty fast. So I took what was left and I headed on to California. I wanted to check out that boom town and find me a job. I needed to get some money coming in. But first, I wanted to see Hollywood. I remember pulling into Los Angeles. Kid that ain't hardly ever been outside of a small town in central Texas. And I'm looking for them Hollywood signs, and I never did find them. Finally, I headed up the coastline on the ocean. Ended up in La Jolla, California. Sleeping in the back of my Nova eating cherry tomatoes and cheese. I still remember that. That was back in 75, I guess. 76. Because I joined the Navy in 76. Finally, one day, I walked in the recruiter and says, sign me up, because I ain't no way in hell I'm going to ask my mother for money to go home on. Luckily, it was the Navy. Next thing I know, I'm in San Diego, California, going through boot camp. And boy, the next 6 years, I hated every minute of it. Come find out, I was very good at technology. They taught me that. But I wasn't worth a damn at being a seller. Too much direction. Too much control over my life. Man, when I wanted to haul ass, I wanted to haul ass. I didn't want to have to ask nobody permission to do it. Well, to make a long story short, they provided a place for me to live. 3 squares a day. And except for when I screwed up, a steady paycheck. Wasn't much back in them days. Hell, I don't think anybody made much back in them days. It seemed like I made about $13,000 a year. But boy, we always had money to go out and party on come Liberty Call. So it wasn't like we was hurting. And if we wanted to buy a car, we could afford that. So, even though I hated it, life wasn't bad, I don't guess. Traveled a lot of interesting places, met a lot of interesting people. Now you see an old bald man missing all his teeth and everything. I wasn't always like that. Here's a picture of me when we went up to Maine. Navy, the ship went through what they call, I forget what they called it, but it went into overhaul at the shipyard. They did a year-long refurbishing, whatever you want to call it, and they made it better. Here's a nice little lady I met up there. Still drinking Schlitz back in them days. Wonder whatever happened to that stuff. Anyway, I was probably 21, 22. Hell, still had a full head of hair. What do you know about that? My point of all this is, even though I hated it, Life wasn't bad. Here's the ship I was on. The USS W.S. Sims, fast frigate 1059. Hold about 300 people, 267 I think, if I remember right. And the job I had, I was responsible for all incoming and outgoing communications from that ship. Dealt with all the officers on a daily basis. Some of my dealings were good, some not so good. But we always felt like we had a mission. And we had options. You know, I could have stayed in there and did 20 years after those first 6. And now that I know the sorry bastards have sent our jobs overseas and everything, I probably should have, and I probably would have stayed in. But back then, the sky was the limit. When I got out of the Navy, I was good with technology. Computers, all that stuff. That was back in the days computers were just coming around. I was good at it. Naturally born good at it. Didn't have to go to school or anything for it. I just found out I had a knack for it. And the sky was my limit. If I wanted to be an astronaut or a scientist or a lawyer or a politician, I could do it if I believed I could do it. But it's a different country now, different world, and it's because of globalization. We have more workers than we do jobs. So the ones that are creating jobs now, because we don't have enough jobs for our people, they're doing stupid shit like telling you can't wear shoes at my office or you won't work here. What an old country boy like me to tell them kiss my ass, take them shoes and shove them where the sun don't shine. But I guess the boys and girls nowadays aren't built like I was. So I do what I can to fight for a future for these kids. That's the only reason I'm running for senator. I could care less about being a senator. These guys like Paxton and Cornyn and all them, they make their whole life's goal to be the big dog, make the big bucks. And they don't give a shit if they have to sell you out or not. And by selling you out, I'm talking about your future. When Paxton goes over to India, to an Islam university, and teaches them how to send more workers here to take your jobs, that destroys your future as an American kid. And if your parents are voting for some sorry son of a bitch like that, you ain't going to have no future. So I feel sorry for our kids. And I do what I can to find a way to give them that future again. That's why I fight to end this H-1B and H-2A and H-2B non-immigrant guest worker visas. If we had plenty of jobs and they didn't discriminate against Americans, you would have never heard a thing from me. But we don't. And they do discriminate against Americans in America. That's why an old guy like me's got loads of skills, hadn't worked much in the last 22 years, 23 years. But at least I had a future up until globalization destroyed it. These kids growing up nowadays, and I don't care if they're boys or girls, I don't care if they're young adults. Hell, I don't even care if they're old folks like me. They don't have a future no more. And it's all because these sorry son of a bitches and the corporate executives and our politicians enabling them have allowed them to destroy the future. There's this guy named Jack Dorsey now laid off 4,000 people at Block. I think he used to be the idiot in charge of Twitter before Elon Musk bought him out. He has no problem destroying the lives of 4,000 families because he still got his. The only way he's not going to have his is if we go out and seize it. Seize his assets, put him out of business, send him to India and tell him Indian over there that he's a Dalit, however they say it, and that he's fit to do nothing other than clean shitters. That's what it's going to take. Either that or us electing politicians that realize it's up to us to establish the balance between our businesses and our people. A healthy relationship. where people in our communities are provided for, where they have jobs. Now, a lot of you are going to say, listen to that crazy old man ranting. At least I understand what's necessary to put our communities back to work. People I'm running against, Paxton, Cornyn, Crockett, Talrico, ask them where they fit on this range of positions I just said to you. They're well spoken. That Crockett lady, she's a fighter. Paxton says he's got your back. And we all know Cornyn sold everybody out. But the problem is, none of them do have your back because they don't understand what you're going through. Well, I do understand what you're going through. And I think it's time that we find a way to put the American people, especially our kids, back in control where they have the future, where the sky is as bright as they want it to be. If you feel that way too, here's how you contact me. If you can't find good paying jobs, and a lot of them can't, you vote for Virgil Beersful. There's one day left, March 3rd, 2026. They call me the jobs guy. My website's vbsenate.com. My email's vbeers@gmail.com. You can text me at 325-215-1886. Don't call me. I won't answer. I get too many damn crank calls. If it's up me, I would probably move out here. Pull a picture where you can. I'd probably move someplace out here, like if I could afford it. It's $500,000. In the old days, piece of cake. I'd wrote a check for a down payment and I'd be living there. Nowadays, I can't even afford a piece of tin off the roof. That's how bad it is. That's the future we're leaving our kids. Is that really what you really want to leave them? No future at all. I mean, you can allow our politicians and our corporate executives to get richer and richer at the expense of our people. Or the people can rise up and say, enough. You guys want to run your businesses, fine, but you're going to take care of our communities and our citizens. You're going to stop importing workers, and you're going to stop sending our jobs overseas. You're going to take care of us. Or you're going to get the hell out of Dodge. It really is that simple. Folks, started off about the Navy, it's still about the Navy. If you're like some of these kids I'm seeing the stories of and you can't find a job, you'll probably hate it just as bad as I do or worse. Go in the Navy. I'm not so sure on the Army and the Air Force and all them. I guess the Air Force will be safe. They don't really go anywhere, I don't think, other than flying. The Navy, you'll be out at sea most of the time. Army and Marines, you're probably cannon fodder. So I'm not sure I'd recommend them. Go in the Navy. Learn you a trade. Get good at it. Do 20, because there's no telling how long it's going to take us to fix this shit. Eventually, Sandy's going to come back to America, or America's going to cease to exist. Get in there, get you a job. That way you can provide for your family. Hopefully they pay better than they did when I was in there, because it costs a lot more to live nowadays. But if you don't have a future, go in there, folks. Go join the Navy. Thank you. Goodbye.